hunter type animals when you take away their hunt. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Even most zoos and captured like animals, like caregivers and stuff, do some sort of pretend hunt for those animals, like
Sure.
snakes and
Sure.
stuff. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And even some of those animals, they do pretend hunts just to make them feel like they're hunting.
Yeah.
Because when you take that hunt away from
That's
them,
crazy.
they go nuts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to humans. I mean, granted, we're a bit more advanced. I
No
will say
surprise
that.
all in our mind.
Right. You know, I mean, right, yeah. I mean, you also have to understand that, like, I mean, most men, bond through things like hardship and struggle and fierce, crazy things that happen. Why do you think war buddies bond so well? You know what I mean? So simple things like your dad taking you out to hunt and doing hard things, such as
Yeah.
killing an animal,
Yeah. And
teaching you to
experiencing.
hunt. Yeah, it's a connection, it's a
It's an
bond.
experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy the other, we just, that you guys are well aware of this, but we're in the process of several life changes. And one of them is, we recently purchased a property that's about 8 acres. And, we've been, doing a bunch of things here. We've got a bunch of plans for the summertime. We plan on homesteading, providing as much for our own food as we can. Anyway, long story short, a good friend of mine had came up, to visit. And, I told him, I said, hey, I said, hunting season's over. I said, but I said, if you want to come up next year, so we can do some hunting. And he goes, sitting quietly in the woods for several hours at a time. He goes, that sounds amazing. And I was
Yeah.
like, and when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't really think about that. Like you go hunting for the purpose of securing food, but honestly, the process, even when I go out there and I don't get anything, I mean, it's so peaceful.
Yeah.
It's
You're just out
relaxing.
there
It's
doing shit. Yeah.
grounding. Yeah, it's just right, just out there listening to nature, and it's fascinating. I don't know, but when he said that, it really made me think. Like, man, you're right. We call it hunting. We don't call it shooting.
Right.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
his metaphor was, he said, we call it fishing. We don't call it catching.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, man,
Right.
that's so true. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
Because
Yeah.
it's not about. I mean, it is in a way, but it's about more
Yeah.
than that. Yeah.
Well, think of it this way. It's like the best way I can relate to for people that don't understand hunting and fishing is like when I teach my son, if you're if you're doing something and if it was easy, you would get no joy from it. If all you had to do was walk outside and you had the answers, you had everything you needed, and how would you appreciate it?
Mm-hmm.
But when you go out and you sit all day to catch enough fish to feed your family for a couple days, or you go
Mhm.
out hunting to have enough meat to feed your family for 6 months, things like that, it's a whole different realm than going to the grocery store, buying processed food, and you feel like crap. Plus, doing it also gets you a bit of exercise, gets you back to nature, gets you that feeling, being connected to your food and what so have you. So I think the reason that, like you guys were saying, foods, the hunting, the getting our own foods, things like that brings much more besides being healthier. It also brings the endorphins and the mentality of being a man.
Right.
Right.
Very
So,
true.
but yeah, and that's been a big thing for me is also being so involved with seeing foods and paying attention to a lot of the foods almost being a conspiracy or as you I think refer to it as crunchy. So
Crunchy.
crunchy, but it does come down to I worry about my family, I worry about all these different things. Now, I keep seeing people worry about, oh, they're feeding us bugs, they're feeding us this, that, the other thing. And yes, initially it kind of sounds disgusting, but in all truth, you eat spiders in your sleep. You In
Yeah,
fact,
it's like minimal though. They said it's not really like. They always said it's like, oh, you eat one a month. It's more like
well,
one in a lifetime.
it's not a dinner for sure, but the kind of thing is even people years ago would they would eat whatever they had in nature.
Yeah,
So I'm not
I'm not
saying
eating
go
bugs.
no, I'm not saying go outside and eat bugs. But the thing is trust me, if you're hungry, I have plenty right here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's right. I
We
forgot you started your bug farm.
yeah.
yeah, so we
Speaking of
have
food,
well, this is food for reptiles, not for my family.
I ate bugs in Korea. Okay, it
how
was
secure
weird.
are those bins?
Very secure.
Well,
The
that's good.
cockroaches are not getting out.
Are they full of bugs?
They are.
That's
So,
That's super gross.
super
well,
gross.
they're just
I
they're
I
just
tolerate
duper.
bugs, but I certainly don't go looking for them.
Well,
Yeah.
when you can sell them for $1 a roach, and
$1 a roach?
and
That's
Man,
you
pretty cool.
so when you
how many roaches does a mama roach spit out when it has babies?
I have no idea, but I know within a year you can have a couple thousand cockroaches.
Oh wow.
So
That's a lot. That's pretty cool.
so
Wow.
we're going to breed them up. We're going to, and then hopefully by midsummer when they start really kicking out and all this, when it's warmer, that we end up getting, I'm hoping to have, these are 27-gallon bins.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping to have 4 or 5 of them by the end of the year.
Full of roaches?
Yep. And then sell them for people to have their pets, ship, because people buy them.
Yeah.
Like we give crickets to his tarantula, but once the
Right.
tarantula gets older, it'll get the smaller cockroaches, and
Oh,
then
really?
yeah, and then his gecko, it's supposed to have the smaller, like the medium size ones, but he'll eat the bigger ones and it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
There's something about watching a gecko sit there and just go boom, quick.
Yeah.
Because
That's cool, isn't it?
the thing moves slow as dirt when it's moving around. You're like how does he catch anything? And when you see him catch something, he does it so quickly that you're like,
I
how
wouldn't
are
be
you?
able to handle it.
What's that?
I just no. If I saw that freaking tarantula in my house, man, I would just like
Well, we
the
have
shotgun would be out all the time, literally
we
all
have,
the time.
we have a scorpion and a
Yeah,
forest ages
I would
scorpion.
mow that scorpion down. I'd mow that thing down. Just
My daughter expressed interest in a tarantula, but it was seemed like a fleeting interest. I explained to her that they're more of like an observation type pet. They're not a I'm gonna play with it type pet, and she didn't seem as interested. But I mean the roach thing, that's kind of great. I mean, it could be just like the double a penny a day thing. You know what I mean? Where you got like
Right.
$1 million in a month. I mean, you just keep, it's parabolic. You just keep having roaches, and next thing you know, you got 1 million roaches, and you're a millionaire. You know what I mean?
Well, in theory, but no, from what I understand, some people do make some real good money off
I
of
bet they
selling
do.
cockroaches.
I bet they do.
There's people that
I mean, get a worm farm with fishing and stuff. There's a lot of fishing up there.
yeah. So once we get the cockroaches up, we're already starting a mild mealworms, which if you get a bunch of those, chickens eat a lot of them.
Koreans eat a lot of them.
Yeah, we're
Seriously,
They do.
yeah.
They did when I was there. They
dehydrate them.
always
And
have the most off the wall comments. Crazy.
I mean, it's true though. When I was in Korea,
Cracks
they
me up.
had like they would sell them in the streets, a cup of like mealworms. It was weird.
Koreans eat those.
They do.
oh, they're
It's
you'd
not
be
racist.
amazed.
My wife is Korean, so it can't be racist. So that automatically means my child is Korean. So
Well, I mean, we cover pretty much the whole gamut. I mean, my wife's Hispanic.
My
your
wife's Chinese.
Korean, his wife's Chinese. We can make fun of just about anybody.
Really, we can. I'm American mutt.
We're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
we're good. Let's get kicked off the air. The Jews.
Yeah.
What I
Wait a
find
minute. I'm not related to any Jews. Don't get me involved in that.
not that I'm
Wait a
aware
second.
of.
Wait a second.
I don't know.
Hang
Supposedly
on.
we have American Indian in my background, but I always said that my side of the family that claims that was actually too embarrassed to admit that they got knocked up by a Mexican that came up to pick the farms. So
Well, my wife did her 23andMe, and it came back. It was like 0.7% Ashkenazi Jew. So I guess, I mean,
I mean,
Technically, yeah.
is that enough? How
I
much
mean,
do you need?
look at it.
My,
What
my
was
wife
it?
did
Before you
hers,
can make
and
fun of
she's like
somebody.
purebred Korean.
I feel like since it's so small, my wife could make fun of them, but I can't. You know what I mean? Like, she has to be at least like 5% before I can. You know what I mean?
Join
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. There's
And
a
making fun of
threshold.
people is kind of how the world turns. I mean, as long as you make fun of yourself as well,
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
But
Yeah.
see
Which I
now,
make fun of myself constantly.
That's how we deal with the crap. You know.
but
Laugh
okay,
about it.
so that tangent
Anyway.
just got me on a thought about all the different foods and things that are out there around the world. You look at what we eat here in the States versus, and I'm not saying let's eat, like, I know Chinese, they have a lot of fried bugs as well, crickets, scorpions,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So cats, but
The U.S. is like the worst one, and like we have all kinds of like issues with our food.
well, see,
That's
that's
the-
the
of course. Yeah. Of
that's the
course.
problem is
Even with the new guy, the Kennedy guy, he did some work and he got stuff done. But I feel like you've been in there for a year.
Yeah, he's heavily criticized.
Yeah.
Well,
he's done
for
a lot,
of-
and we got a bunch of things fixed.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to be fixed.
Yeah,
Well-
he's done. You know, it's just like any politician, right? There's always step forwards and steps forward, steps backward.
Yeah.
right. But you look at, like, there's a lot, and I think our big problem here in the States, and I can't speak wholeheartedly about the rest of the world, but I do know other countries, they banned a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
that we eat regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of videos where people are posting the like, this is what is here in Europe, and you see it's like a real plain color, and here's an American soda, and it's like just this, like somebody dropped a piece of uranium in it and watch it glow.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Well, I mean, it's all due to like the corporate funnel. You know what I mean?
yeah,
All those Mountain Dews they have.
Everything goes up into like top 3 companies, and those top 3 companies tell these companies below to do this, and so and you connect like the pharmaceutical companies, and you connect the oil companies, and then you connect the food companies, and then you connect like all just everything, and you see where they're all at. Then you realize, oh, these are the guys who own them, and it's like the same 2 or 3 companies.
You've seen
So-
the network with the maps, that
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So BlackRock owns these pharmaceutical companies, this oil company, and this food company. They're telling the oil companies and the pharmaceutical companies to get together and use the oil and stuff and the petroleum to make pharmaceuticals. But then they're saying, well, we need to sell them to sick people, but nobody's sick, so now
we need to make people sick.
put that stuff and bad stuff in the food to make it, and it just goes back and forth. So, and that's the problem with the U.S. I mean, I'm super pro capitalism. Love it, love America. But at some point there needs to be a step in with some things, and I think the unfortunate thing is the problem is the government does step in. They just step in the wrong way. They collude with them, and that's wrong. That's why it's like it is.
I don't tend to be a huge conspiracy theorist per se. I mean, I'm
I
not
am.
saying. I'm not saying.
I'm not either, but I mean,
hear me out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's outside of the realm of possibility that somewhere along, this pyramid of power, there was somebody that said, "Oh, I've got a great idea how we can make a bunch of money. We'll sell drugs and we'll sell food that causes illness." Maybe somebody said that. Maybe somewhere along the line, some malevolent person was like, "Hey, light bulb."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rockefeller.
Maybe. Look, but that's not my first inclination, because I think for the most part, human beings are good naturally. Okay,
Yeah.
so
I question
but
that.
here's what I think happened. I I think that, capitalism is great when it's, I think laissez-faire capitalism is the most effective, it would seem. But anyway,
Right.
but there does have to be some government intervention, especially when you start having these different, well, like what's going on now, where everything is so complexly interconnected.
Right.
But what I think happened somewhere along the line was that there was some faulty incentive systems that were put in place as a result of the capitalist system and the regulation thereof. And what ended up happening was a lot of these things were indirectly incentivized. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? And
It
Yeah.
so
does.
whether
100%.
it be, hey, we're going to save money, and there's no regulational oversight on how we, mitigate arsenic in our food, right? For
Right.
example, like with the, hey, we store our sugar in these big bins, and we noticed that, when we pull them out of these bins, somehow the bins are leaching arsenic into the. Well, is there a
Yeah.
regulation for that? No. Okay, well then who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make the
Well,
runts. You know what
there's
I mean? Or make
also
the nerds or whatever. You know what I
right.
mean?
Right.
There's
I-
also this as
yeah.
well. And going on, because I do follow conspiracy. I've just gotten to that point that I'm like, I give up. There's too much proof.
I'm not saying it's not true.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's just not my first go-to. You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah.
But see, here's like I was watching a hearing where Congress was talking to a pharmaceutical CEO. And I never realized this until I listened to this. He goes, okay. He goes, does your company own the largest distributor of pharmaceuticals? They say, yes, we manufacture, we own the manufacturing, we own the research, and we own the distributors. He goes, okay. Do you own the pharmacies? He goes, well, we own a large portion of United States pharmacies. So the drug company has bought the distributors who sells it to the pharmacies, who the pharmacies decide who they buy from so that they can discern who they give the best price, able to get the best prices from.
Sure.
But that's not the case. If the drug company or say the food company and the ingredients and all this, if they're owned all colluded together, then there's no incentive for, say, General Mills, if they own the farms and they say, hey, to make these live longer, use these seeds and spray them with bare chemicals, and we'll just let them air out for a month, and then we'll grind them up, put more chemicals in it, and do what we do. Or whoever you're looking at is basically they own the people that they're buying their foods from, and then they're dictating how that food's grown, processed, and all this so that they get the best shelf life. It doesn't matter, because like us, we know the fact of a lot of these foods have just horrible chemicals, horrible things in it. I mean, and it's gotten as time progressed, it's gotten worse. But they also know that there's on left and right, it's not a political thing on this, but there's a huge chunk of America, more than those who know it, that doesn't know it, doesn't look at it, and just says, well, I ate this growing up, I was fine.
Right.
They don't think about, well, they've changed. Like, look at when we were growing up, McDonald's French fries was potatoes, salt, and oil.
Yeah.
Now,
it's like 70 something ingredients. Like,
yeah, now it would fill this book here. So, I mean, it's crazy on the differences.
I do believe somewhat that there is. I mean, I'm like you, Tom. I'm not super into conspiracy theories, though I do follow a lot of them and understand a lot of them. But I still kind of feel like there is some nefarious action in a lot of it. I don't believe that they were like, I'm going to kill everyone. You know what I mean? Obviously not. But they are like...
Maybe not, obviously. obvious. I mean,
Yeah, but they
maybe
are still
somebody,
like, well, this chemical makes this food last longer,
right,
boost profits, but at the same time, the it does kind of produce a 20% higher chance of getting cancer, which we also own
right,
the
Stocks in.
company that does that, so that boosts profits there. So
right,
let's go ahead and do this. Rename the information on the ingredients labels, and
Mhm.
so it's really not really caught, and
Well,
then we'll get with Congress, and Congress will make this or do
yeah,
that or do that, and then those things kind of collude together, and then Nancy Pelosi gets is worth $300 million. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that like I said, I don't think they're over there like, they're gonna kill them all, make them bleed from their eyes. You know what I mean? But I do believe that they are somewhat being nefarious in a way that they don't give two craps what
I,
happens to
I,
you as long as their profits are boosted, and they'll
I'd be
go
Yeah.
out
really,
of their way to make it that way.
I would agree. I'd be really interested to see like a piece of data that shows like the you know introduction of a food product to our food production system, and then
Hmm.
subsequently within a period of months or years we start to see a direct increase in a particular illness, and then we start to
Hmm.
see a direct increase in the usage of a pharmaceutical medication associated with that illness, and then we
Yeah,
start to
the
see a spike
direct
in
connection to
profit.
that.
You know what I mean? Like, is
Yeah,
there a way that we can trace, like, oh man, from
yeah.
the time they started adding preservative X to the foods,
Hmm.
here we are 10 years later, and this pharmaceutical company now in that 10 years has made $1 billion off of
Fuck.
cancer. We can
I
add
hit
it.
my mug and it
We can
slung
edit
all
that
over
out.
me. And I
Oh, that's
cursed
funny.
live. So, cool.
It's
Yeah.
okay if you stand up and it looks like you peed yourself, we will definitely edit it out. Definitely.
Sure.
Go ahead and just stand up, and we'll just.
But what if I did actually pee myself? Like, I'm good
Well,
with
now
that.
I guess now you can get away with saying, "Hey, it's water." See,
You could never claim that they spread rumors about you because they're true.
Yeah, I
there you
mean,
go.
I admit it. I don't care. I'm married. I don't got to chase a woman no more. Not to mention, young girls like old daddy figures that pee themselves. So
That's what.
Yes, that is absolutely what
Let's
it is.
clarify, young women.
yeah, there you
I
go.
want
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Too many Epstein file stuff out
Yeah.
these days. You don't want to
Yeah.
get mixed up in the wrong
Bleep
stuff.
that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, like I don't, I'm all about. Sorry for squirreling here. Sorry for the squirrel. I'm all about the Trump administration, and I really do think they've done a lot of good. You know,
Right.
but I mean, the evidence on this stuff is black and white, and I'm just like, man, I don't care who you are. They're children. These are children.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is disgusting. Some of those emails are just unbelievable. I read a few of them, and I'm like, wow. I don't care if Trump was involved. I support Trump and like it. But if Trump was involved, wood chipper right through that sucker. So I don't understand. Why is this stuff like, why is nothing happening?
See,
By this point, we should have hundreds and hundreds of people in jail.
that's the thing that everyone screamed and hollered about us getting the Epstein files. But because right now no one's out there shouting, arrest them, arrest these people. And
Yeah. Should be. They should all be.
they
Right,
should.
back to food. Sorry. Back to food.
Yes. So, which is funny because my wife just texted me about her food.
But yeah, I mean, to your point, Tom, on the studies and stuff. So one of the things that I know that they have known about the spike in autism for years, and they've purposely covered it up, and they've purposefully skewed a lot of the studies and stuff. And that, I mean, I get that's one thing that this Kennedy dude has done that's good. He's kind of,
Brought it to
publicly
light.
portrayed. Yeah, kind of publicly portrayed this and shown everyone, hey,
Brought light to some of it.
yeah, brought it to light and show, hey, we've known this for years.
Right.
I've been saying it because there is videos of him in Congress, like talking to Congress. He was never in Congress, but he's talking to Congress, telling them, hey, guys, you guys need to do something about this. It's spiking. And like every 5 years, a video of him. And he's been talking about it for 20, 30 years. And he finally, somebody let him in. And I mean, he did something about it. So, I mean, that's a good thing. He'd done a few things about it, like lower the vaccine schedule. There's a bunch of different
Right.
food things that they took out, you know, because it's not necessarily as bad as the kids getting a bunch of vaccines as soon as they get injected, but it's also the mother while she's pregnant, plus the vaccines she got when she was a kid. You know, all this changes the fabric of your DNA over the course of years. 25 years old, you have a kid, and then while you're pregnant, you have to get the Tdap and all this other crap, you know. And then you're also eating all this specialty food, and then they tell you have to have those mom vitamins. What are the mom vitamins? And that screws up your hormones and stuff.
Mom vitamins.
And this is the stuff they talked about.
Oh, the
so,
prenatal vitamins and
yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah, the prenatal vitamins and all that stuff, and there's like studies out there that show that actually like screws up your like hormone cycles by taking it while you're pregnant. You know what I mean? So all of those things have kind of contributed into now we have just skyrocketing autism, and so
Well,
I
they're
mean,
skyrocketing everything. It's not just autism. I mean,
yeah, and obesity's through the roof, and you know, and I mean, I have a little bit of belly fat on me, but the way I eat and the way I work out, I should be like a freaking toothpick, like veiny, like muscles just shredded. But I'm not, because everything's so DNA screwed up, you know what I mean? I can't lose weight. Can't.
right.
It's impossible now, you know what I mean? Because our food's all twisted.
Oh,
I
yeah.
eat one piece of bread and it's like,
Well,
so,
even if you try to make your own, you're dealing with the flours that they have.
yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't do any good. You know what I mean? They've screwed everything up.
right. Like I have an exercise bike. I work out on that. I have some weights to the side. I lift, and I still have a jiggly center. I always joke around that I have a 6-pack. It's just under a load of laundry. So that or
See,
what's the other?
I have what I like to call a gorilla belly. So like it's round. Like you ever see a gorilla? Like their
Right.
belly's like round, but if you were to touch it, it's like that's how it is.
Nice and hard.
There's like no softness, but it's like a gut, but it's like rock hard.
That's funny.
Rock hard.
Yeah, rock hard, baby.
Oh, jeez. The
You ever
jokes
see
I
that
can
meme?
make.
He said, jeez.
You ever see the meme? What's her name? Medusa. She's looking at the big. It's like a big muscly black guy, and he's got like a big green beret hat on, and he's looking at her, and she's looking at him. They're looking at each other's eyes, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, you're supposed to turn into you're supposed to be rock hard by now," and he's like, "I already am."
Oh man,
It's super funny.
It's kind of funny.
the roads
Good
we go
memes.
down.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine. It's not unexpected by any means. But yeah, I mean to me it just seems weird that like you said, you work out, you're definitely more fitness minded than I am. Tom, with your career, you're definitely more actively and physically minded than I am.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I design restaurants. There's nothing actively physical to what I do. So
I bet you have really strong wrists.
My-
All the
my-
drafting.
my
all the
my
drafting.
my forearms are stone hard, I'm telling you.
That is so hot.
As long as it's not just one forearm. If one forearm is big and muscular, then there's a problem.
I think they're about equal.
They're even. Okay, good.
I've heard about those. I've heard about those pythons, but have you seen these cobras?
Oh, jeez. But I think a lot of it, even the meats, like I eat healthy. I can say that we don't buy food that's processed. Occasionally we will, but
Yeah.
most times it's like I'm thawing pork chops now so that I can bake them tonight and then give the kids some leftover rice that we had from yesterday and all this stuff. And the fact comes down to is even the meats that we eat, because you would sit there and say, oh, well, I just eat meats and a couple vegetables. even those, how they're
Even
raised, how
those,
the
yeah.
vegetables are sprayed, even the
Mm-hmm.
seed. It sounds crappy, but even the seeds that we have in our we use in our gardens are
Yeah.
now so genetically modified,
Yeah.
and not like naturally modified to grow better, but where they've put in like strands of DNA and all this to
Yeah.
create it to do certain things. So I mean, it's crazy. There's literally no way. There's ways of being healthier by all
Mm-hmm.
means,
But
but
there's no way to get away from it. It's
yeah,
almost impossible at this point. Yeah.
Use as much of
it,
your own food as you can.
Yeah.
yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
I eat a lot of meat, and it's funny. For years, I heard from everybody, even doctors, everybody I knew, even all the doctors, um, that I shouldn't eat too many eggs. There's a lot of cholesterol. Dude, I've been eating 8 eggs a day every day, and I used to eat more, but it would make me bigger and more muscles and stuff because I'm working out more. So the more eggs you eat, obviously it's protein, so you're getting bigger and stronger. But
right.
I kind of reduce it down to 8. But I used to eat 8 eggs or more a day for the last like 5 years,
Yeah.
and my cholesterol used to be bad when I would drink alcohol and eat processed food. But now I
Mm-hmm.
eat eggs and steak and beef and all the fattening, disgusting things that everybody's been saying for years. I got my cholesterol checked like maybe a month ago. It's perfect.
That's what I need to
Seed
do.
oil.
Is
Seed oils is
Yeah,
the culprit
yeah,
for
yeah.
cholesterol, in my opinion.
Fried
yeah,
foods, sugar,
Elevated
seed oils,
cholesterol epidemic
alcohol.
with seed oils. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All that stuff is bad for you. And they're like, oh, but the seed oils were marketed for all those years. That those the healthier option, non-trans fat.
Oh yeah, they
Right.
benefited greatly from demonizing animal fat. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that was the whole thing in the 50s. So I mean, talking about conspiracy theories, right? Again, whether it was intentional or not, the
Yeah,
cottonseed industry started realizing that they had a ton of byproduct
yeah,
from processing. I'm sorry, the cotton industry realized they had a ton of cottonseed as a byproduct of the cotton industry,
yeah.
and that they didn't need. So they wanted to find a way to make it profitable. Fair enough.
Right.
So they started processing into oil. They realized they can make cottonseed oil. The problem with cottonseed oil is that it's toxic. So
Yeah,
they created a process to remove the toxins. And then they started marketing it as Crisco essentially. And so
yeah,
Crisco became super popular. Crisco and Betty Crocker got into bed with one another and made, which you find them at every garage sale in the nation. Every
Mm-hmm.
time you go, it's the Betty Crocker Crisco cookbook. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They
Yeah.
send them to every house mom in the nation, for
Right.
free. And so, then Crisco became like an overnight sensation. It's like, oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
stable at room temperature, it's cheap, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It essentially replaced lard and tallow on the
Right.
standard American kitchen counter. And
Right.
so, here we are
Yeah.
now. No
Man. Yeah.
surprise.
Right. Here we are. Yeah.
Decades later, and we're
Mm-hmm.
having a cardiovascular epidemic. It's like, well,
Yeah. It's the funny. It's funny that you talk about that. Actually, the milk industry did something similar.
yeah,
They had all this like byproduct whey. Didn't know what to do with. What do? Start marketing working out with whey protein. Get
whey
jacked and all
protein.
this extra protein, and boom! Now you got all these jugs of whey
Sure,
protein.
sure, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's as bad as cottonseed oil, but it's still
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
not. It's not
Most of it's
protein. It's
most of it's
whey.
chemically processed. I mean, you really got to
Hmm.
watch because a lot of the stuff does have heavy metals and things like that in it.
Yeah. Right.
Third party testing on whey is extremely important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
then the
important
major.
on a lot of things, but I mean, the funny thing
Yeah.
is we only see, for some reason we only seem to rigorously third party test products that are marketed as natural or healthy, which I
Yeah.
find
Right.
interesting. So you've got these products that are, I mean, sometimes they're nefarious, but I think a lot of these products are truly attempting to offer a healthier alternative to the
Yeah.
customer, and they're it's like people don't trust them. That
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't really know whether it's a
Hmm.
chicken or the egg type situation, but it just seems that there's like much more rigorous testing on those types of products,
Yeah.
supplements and things like that. And I
Hmm.
guess fair enough, but why isn't our food
Why isn't
like that?
everything like that?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
you
if
look
Why
at
isn't
it. What?
why
everything
don't we
like
have
that? Yeah.
third party? Why doesn't Kraft mac and cheese have third party testing to show there's no
Right.
freaking arsenic in it?
Right.
Well,
Yeah. It
here's
should.
I'll tell you why is because what they do
Yeah,
is
I don't know.
they submit to the FDA and they say here's our ingredients. Now,
Mhm.
the FDA says this is fine. and they they give like a laboratory tests the food and says, oh yes, everything they say is there. And, oh, we found some of this. And they said, well, is it within a certain margin?
Yeah.
Now, what people don't realize about the FDA is, and I don't, they've reorganized and did all this with Kennedy in there, but
At least better, a little bit.
what he used to do is, here was the process for FDA approval. You'd go to the board and say, here, I have this to be tested. They'd be like, fine. We need a lab testing. You need to pay it was like a huge fee. I forget what the fee was. And then on top of that, you would have to then after you pay the fee, after the testing, you'd have to go through a bunch of other steps. Now, the people who were big companies would sit there and say, here, we did an independent study through our own lab. Here's the results. And here's this. And then it got found out that a lot of these FDA board members would sit there and say, okay, well, I can get this through. It's going to take 2 or 3 years. And the company says, well, I kind of have a release date for next year, so I need this approved. Here is money to help your charity. Here's money to help the organization that you are running and you're collecting money off of as a administration fee. So they would feed money into these charities, write the charities off, but the FDA board members would then be collecting money and say, okay, yes, this is now fast tracked, and your competitor is being pushed back so that by the time they are approved, if they get approved, because it could take so long that they say, well, your lab test is no longer valid. You need to rerun it. So they created a gateway to keep out these more healthier options.
Right.
So the FDA this is one reason that when I see FDA approved, I sit there and say, you mean FDA purchased? Because that's what it boiled down to.
Yeah. Yeah, so I see all this stuff about like drinking raw milk and stuff. I'm like, why is it like so bad? Like I'm not into drinking raw milk because I don't like milk. Period. Yeah, I don't like milk at all. It's gross. You know what I mean? It's not for me. But if somebody wants to drink raw milk, like,
let them.
What of it? What's it to you? You know, it's not going to kill you. It's just a cow.
Well, the thing that they used to be so afraid of.
That's too close to nature.
Well, you can possibly get sick. And here's the thing is, the original pasteurization of milk wasn't really that bad a thing. Now pasteurization involves chemicals.
Right. Yeah, it's bad.
So, but...
Yeah, years ago it was just a heat up process.
But when
now it's like the heat up process, then they add a bunch of bleach and stuff to kind of clean it out.
Yeah.
But sterilize it, and then they refilter it back out and pump it through. And to me, that was like, that's crazy because, raw milk's not that big of a deal. And a lot of people are like, oh, you could get the bacterial infection from it. But if you read the statistics on it, it's like less than a 0.02% chance that you get that bacterial infection. You actually have more of a chance of getting sick from regular milk, store-bought pasteurized milk than you do from raw milk. So, that number could be skewed because the amount of people drinking raw milk or regular milk versus people drinking raw milk is like.
See, now this is where the double-edged sword comes in with that. So we want government to sit and say, hey, cut these things out of our food, stop putting them in there.
Right, exactly.
But you have the government saying, well, okay, we'll stop that. But on the same hand, they're saying, look, milk. And the origins of the pasteurization there was way back from how some of the history I learned of it was big cow farms wanted to buy these smaller cow farms that were supplying to their local neighborhoods,
Yeah.
their local communities. And they said, hey, no, we don't want them doing that. Let's require pasteurization, because they knew
they can't afford to do it.
they couldn't
Right.
afford the equipment to pasteurize. So then they started becoming outlaws, illegal processors, all this, because they couldn't afford to follow the new regulations that was set in part by the larger dairy companies.
Right.
So that's where it kind of goes into the good and bad of the government. Like, I hate the government being involved in almost anything.
Yeah.
There is a point that they should be involved, but
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I often use the example of the fire service just because it's, most closely related to me, but like privatization versus socialization. There's a lot of services and things like that should be privatized, and they function better as a privatized service. But there's also a place for some socialized services, like the fire department. You probably wouldn't want to see what a for-profit fire department system would look like.
Right.
Probably not be what you would want. You know what I mean?
Or a
Right.
for-profit police force.
Yeah,
Well, see-
or a for-profit EMS service.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, most of them are private. Are they not mostly private that takes
Yeah,
money
but
from the
are.
government?
Contracted,
There
right?
are, okay, so correction. There are several. Okay, so we do have examples of for-profit EMS services. Most of them don't run very well.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, there are examples of for-profit EMS. There may even be examples in the country of for-profit fire departments. I can't say for sure. But I just know what I've learned of the history of the fire service, that we had a period of time where for-profit fire services were common, and there was a lot of issues that arose as a result.
Yeah.
So,
Most of those EMS services that are privatized, I mean, they're just contracted through the state anyways, or contracted through the county
the city
or whatever.
pays them. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So they get price settings anyways. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That is the nuance. It's not like they're showing up at your door, after you cut your leg off with a square. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just tap your card here, sir, and we'll take you to the hospital. You know what I mean?
Right. So they're privatized, but they're sort of privatized. It's not really fully privatized, because this is the county and the city are they set the price. This is the contract. You're going to bid on our services. The end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if it were fully privatized, they could roll up on you and be like, "Oh, 20 grand. Sorry about your luck." You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah. Sorry, but now you owe us.
Our boss said we can't take anybody to the hospital unless they pay first, man. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
so you're going to sit here until you send us all your money, pretty much.
I can put a tourniquet on that arm for free, but that's all I'm allowed to do.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You got to walk, dude. It's only a couple miles.
And see, that's where, like I said, it goes into people. One, like, I remember years ago, there was a lady, she felt sick, felt lightheaded, called an ambulance, right? And my whole time thinking is, you're lightheaded. Eat some food. It's close to lunchtime. Eat some food. And like, after the ambulance took probably 45 minutes to get to the office and this and that, which I'm sitting there thinking, this was a real emergency. She could have been dead.
Right.
And, but so by the time they got there, she felt perfectly fine. But because she knew her insurance was covering the payment, she said, well, yeah, take me to the hospital still.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
people do that all the time.
Yeah. And my thought is because of this is why insurance goes up. But on top of it,
part of it, yeah.
Part of the reason, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Part of the reason.
why.
It's real bad in the military. Because TRICARE wives were like, every little thing that'd be in the doctor's office, getting in new medication and new this and new that, getting all these checkups and and they do it on purpose because they're sitting at home bored, their husband's out of town in the military, so it's like actually quite bad in the military. Remember we used to call them dependopotamuses. It's a dependent but a hippopotamus at the same time, dependopotamus.
I understand. So, but my rant down that way is you have all these systems, even the government systems aren't as good. So,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of that's because the government, the systems we're dealing with, they're not, you would sit there and think these are designed to make us better, to make us healthier, to make our lives, make us be able to live a better life. But it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody put a theory out, and this goes to me being conspiracy theory down the road, but somebody pointed out why do you think the government does they put as minimal effort into helping the vets, those who have fought, trained, and been injured and went through hell for our government, for our American ways, and then they come back here and they get basically thrown to the sideline when we're helping all these other groups of people that have done nothing but take and take and take from the American people. And the theory basically went to is if you have, and my line of thinking for foods comes with this. If you have a group of people that are strong, healthy minded, and able to stand, fight, and function, then the government would not be able to get away with what they do as much because the amount of homeless vets, the amount of people that are being dragged down by the foods we eat. Some of the I seriously am believing that a lot of the foods that we eat now are contributing to mental issues.
100%.
Like I think
100%.
the foods we eat are like what is it? They push soy milk.
Mm-hmm.
And I will not let my son touch any soy, almond,
Yeah.
whatever milk because it has chemicals in it that pushes
Yeah. Lowers your
estrogen,
testosterone levels, spikes your
pushes,
estrogen levels.
yeah, hint the phrase soy boy. And I had
Mm-hmm.
to explain that to my wife and she goes, "Oh, that's not real." And I showed it and after that she's like,
Yeah.
"Our son wanted to drink some." And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "No, you drink regular milk, but they're putting stuff in the regular milk too.
Yeah.
This pasteurization process, they're adding stuff in there."
Yeah.
And I think that the government's approving this stuff. And this goes to my crazy conspiracy is the government is approving this stuff so that the mass majority of people that would normally stand up
A
to the
more
government and
subordinate
say,
population.
yeah, if you're
Mm-hmm.
too lazy, too stupid, too weak, I mean, the education, when people started showing that they're advancing and being able to think on their own and do more and more,
Yeah.
what did they do? They dumbed down the education system so bad that
Mm-hmm.
kids graduating from, I'm not saying all kids. My
Yeah.
wife has reminded me that I need to watch how I state this because not all kids are coming out of high school with a 7th grade reading level and a 1st grade math
But the
education.
numbers have been doing
In,
this on that.
increasing while
Yeah.
the kids that are going to schools
Mm-hmm.
are the ones that are creating and innovating and doing
Mm-hmm.
good things have
Yeah.
gone
We
down.
talked about this last episode, didn't we?
I think we discussed
Last
it a
thing.
little bit.
Yeah. It showed that the prior generation,
Yeah.
the Gen Z is the first generation that's less intelligent and less capable than the prior generation ever,
Right.
like ever in existence, and they've contributed it to technology in schools. Too much technology.
Well, they
Everything's on a book. Everything's on a digital.
Yeah,
right.
they don't have libraries anymore.
Yeah.
In schools.
Well,
have
they do.
computer
Well,
labs.
the problem is the books that they have in there now are
Everything's all digitized.
That's
well,
what I
it's
mean. Yeah, like my daughter's schools, they neither one of them, none of them have actual libraries. They have
Yeah.
they don't even have computer labs. They actually give them laptops.
Yeah.
yeah.
Computer labs, they don't have libraries. Those are things of the past.
Like
Yeah.
my wife and I have talked about maybe in a year or so sending our kids to a private school, and one of the ones that right now I have a interest in that I kind of like, they give the kids tablets to be able to type on the tablets and do homework, and you get the stylus so you write on your tablet and all this stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, because they want to all be paperless. And at one point, I I want my kids to know technology very well. I do want them to know it, but at the same point, like
They
we
don't need to
just
dig in at 10 years old.
right,
You know
but
what I mean?
at the point it's people are push with technology. Like our generation grew up with technology that was was new, so we knew life without technology and life with technology.
Yeah.
And the problem is a lot of people, they've grown up like my son. He's grown up with technology. I mean, he's grown up with technology that when I grew up I never would have thought was possible. Like we were Pancakes and we were talking before we went live about how I'm printing. My son's reading the book Wild Robot. He's getting close to finishing it, so we have a 3D printer, so I'm printing him a model of, I think it's Roz, of the Wild
Yeah, the
Robot.
character.
He just told me yes, it's Roz. So the character it's being printed, and he chose the colors, and he's choosing all these things and in fact he's right over there putting some of the pieces together, waiting for the body to finish printing so he can finish building it together. These are things I would have never have thought realistically was something growing up. So it's the double-edged sword of, we have more technology which is giving us more things, more information, and more ability to learn. But at the same time, the more information that we have, the more technology we have, it's also slowing down our way of thinking. Like,
I'd feel like it's a balance. You have to balance the two. You know what I mean? I don't really believe that there should be too much technology in schools until they're in their high school grades. You know what I mean? In the
right,
younger years, I mean, I just don't see a point. They're not really doing top-notch calculus to the point where they need a fancy calculator. You know what I mean? Until they're at least in 10th, 11th grade. You know what I mean? And even in that point, they still should be able to do it on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? Granted, a calculator is helpful to calculate the square root of 17,256.6, you know what I mean, times these 4 square roots and numbers and all that stuff. So I get, you know what I mean. Granted, they had calculators back in the olden days. They just weren't technology. They were abacuses and shit.
right,
So I get using it for that, but up until a certain point, I don't feel that's necessary, like at all. Like my daughter's school, they are not allowed. Like even their high school kids aren't allowed to bring their phones on campus. Nothing. There's zero technology whatsoever. The only thing they allow is simple calculators for their math. And what's funny is they regularly go back and forth between number 1 and number 2 in the nation, in the school's academics. In the nation,
right,
in the whole nation, the United States of America, they're number 1 and number 2. They bounce back and forth between number 1 and number 2 spot.
right.
So,
Well,
I mean, to me, that's like blatant evidence. You know what I mean?
right. Well, it's like I'm switching my son from, for the first couple years we've done a lot of online stuff for homeschooling, right? So we're now moving to more paper, more sitting down writing this and that. And because I've noticed his writing skills are horrific. Now part of
Yeah.
that is he writes with both hands. So
Yeah.
and a lot of that's because when he was in this public school system we have here called Head Start, they kept yanking the scissors and pencils and crayons and all this out of his left hand and shoving it into his right. So
Yeah.
that comes down to a lot of us trying to get things done that we can produce the knowledge to do better. But for him, he, like, my handwriting's horrible because I got slapped and got told not to use my left hand. You okay there?
Yeah.
But so for him, he uses both hands. He hasn't gotten a. I'm going to mute you in a second. But the fact is now you're making my mind go all over the place. I'm losing my train of thought. Left-handedness. So yes. So his handwriting. Yes, his handwriting's horrible. We're moving more to him doing his math homework through a pen and paper kind of process. We're keeping technology. We're keeping AI math because I find that it improves his work.
Yeah.
So it's basically, hold on one second. Go. You're not allowed on live streams. So basically, it's bringing back old traditional ways of doing stuff and trying to still use technology to its benefit.
Yeah.
I think with all these things that we call advancements, there's a downside that no one's thinking about. That either, I don't know if it's the government doing it, if it's a cabal, if it's the WHO, and I'm not talking about the band.
Yes.
The or
Teenage Wasteland.
whatever organization you think is out to destroy humanity and the civilization and things like that to make us like the Jetson and Flintstones. But well, you've heard that theory, haven't you? Tom, have you heard that one or no? So there's a theory that the Jetson and
I do have to get going though here soon.
Yeah, I do too. But there's a theory that the Jetsons and the Flintstones take place at the same time. They have the same technology.
Sure.
And it was the two shows were a prediction of what is to come. You have the people that fled the Earth's surface to live in the sky because the Earth has been, they created such a devastating society on the surface that the wealthier, the rich, and all these people had to live above in a place that, So, but the fact is people have this conspiracy that a similar kind of social structure is trying to be created now. And part of what I'm wondering is if we don't turn around what we're doing, teach our kids to be healthier, push away, and like a lot of it goes to going back to the government feeding welfare recipients, allowing them to buy these junk foods, these sodas, these things that are dumbing their kids down. And again, this goes to feeding stuff into your kids. Their intelligence is dropping. They're becoming fat, lazy kids. They're becoming furries or part of the crazy LGBT and creating all these mental issues that is destroying society.
It's also in the medical industry too.
Well, because they make money off of it.
Yeah, the doctors should not be telling people that male testosterone is at the line it is now.
Well, no, they keep lowering the line so they can say it.
Every time the average lowers, they lower it, and it keeps going and going and going. And it shouldn't be. The timeline started in the 70s when they started measuring testosterone. If you look at testosterone of an average 40-year-old male, it's in the 800s in the 70s, which majority of 40-year-old men today, it's like the 400s. So, and that's due to food.
If you're that high.
That's all food. That's all.
Guys, stuff. I really gotta hop off.
I was gonna say I got some meetings coming up as well. So let's wrap this up. So first off, Tom, where do people reach out to you if they want to talk to you, find out information, or what so have you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been offline for a couple months, just focusing on life stuff, but I am on X at Earn Respect, and you can message me there.
Sounds good. Mr. Pancakes?
Awesome. Yep. The normal pancakeswithyourdad.com. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, True Social. The nonprofit's getting there. We're still in works, so won't mention a whole lot about it, but it's getting there. If you listen to us, you know about it. So
All right.
yeah.
Sounds good. So with that being said, go to callwithdads.com. You can find our YouTube channel, Call with Dads, on YouTube. Everything is on Call with Dads. It's pretty simple, straightforward. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us through there or reach out to us through our social medias. So with that, thank everybody for being here. I hope you have a good day. Goodbye.